We're back, everyone. So it's time to reflect and share. After creating and connecting, we invite you all to reflect and share at this time. So please, everyone, share with us in the chat, what do you celebrate from today? What is a connection you have made or something you created, someone you have known? How about you, Francisco? What do you celebrate from this amazing day that we had at the conference?
I'm celebrating so much besides the logistics, the content, the folks, the energy. There's so many sessions, so many things that just caught my attention that just made me think so much about the work. I think one thing that comes to mind is I'm not celebrating gender and accessibility barriers, but I want to celebrate Quest Alliance for calling them out and sharing how their work explores making connections to self, gender, computational thinking careers. How can we provide opportunities to tinker and take risks when some young people have not had the opportunity to engage in play and iterate and celebrate failure? These are just big questions that are just taken on by the team, and it just blew me away. I think Samira said facilitators are contextual anchors. To me, it was just so powerful. I loved hearing that, and that I think someone in the session said that this meeting has really given me a new cultural perspective, and that I feel the same way. That really resonated with me. And guess what? Quest Alliance is hosting another conference tomorrow. So Quest Alliance, if you're there, please put a link to your work. It's such a huge shout out. Thank you for sharing and presenting so much for me to think about.
Nice. So nice to hear from that. Do you want to know what I'm celebrating for?
What are you thinking? What are you thinking?
So, I am as I said in the beginning, like I was already so honored to be here because I'm a Scratcher for a while and have been in love and loving Scratch for some time with other educators and also in especially kids. And what I really like about the conference itself, and that really resonated with me, was it was so special to me as a Brazilian to have all the session or most of them in Portuguese, and I feel that, oh no, the crying thing. No, I just want to say that I think this is one of the things that I most like about Scratch. Like, it's a global community. It's really embracing other cultures and people around the world, So I'm close to the Scratch team, to the Scratch family, to the lifelong kindergarten group for a while. And I know how much these people care about how Scratch look like and the potential of Scratch for other cultures than here, the US, right? So this is so important. I can speak for myself and also for the group of Brazil that was facilitating sessions today, that we feel so belonging to this community and we felt so appreciated and valued. And I can imagine how many other communities and people who have been joining us from many parts of the world have been feeling like that too. Like, I don't know, I celebrate this feeling of belonging to such a special, lovely, kind community as the Scratch family. So yes, I'm so happy. And I also would like to learn from friends of ours from the Lifelong Kindergarten group at the Media Lab. So I invite my dear friends, Natalie Brusk, who has been leading research with Scratch and creative learning for so many years, and Rupal Jain, who has been supporting educators on their exploration with creative computing and creative learning, and also studying a lot of facilitation in this process. So Natalie, Rupal, we welcome you and would love to learn about what you have been celebrating. What are you celebrating from today? And mostly, how was your experience during the conference?
Yay, so good to be here. And just namaste, everyone who's watching and joining. And again, congratulations to the entire team, Francisco and Carolina. What a great job that you've done today, welcoming us all and modeling how to create a welcoming environment for us all. So thank you for doing that. Yeah, Natalie, curious to hear too, like how your day went. I know for me, I've been at my kitchen table, but I've walked the world and gotten to be inspired by the world today and all these communities who are doing incredible work to support, caring, creative environments in their local spaces. So I have a few different reflections from sessions I got to attend, but yeah, what's sticking with you? What are you thinking about from today?
Well, so many things. One thing is just the space for educators to share the reality of some of the barriers that they're facing within their schools or learning centers, like, inequities or other barriers. And at the same time, like how they're really providing opportunities and time and support and encouragement for young people to like express their interests, express even the challenges they face. And then also to be able to express their identities and their interests in their own languages and across languages. So it was really inspiring to hear how educators are really sharing what are your strategies, how are you doing that, and concrete stories where you got to hear young people in their voices and in their with in the Deaf Kids Code session using sign language, as well as just across different countries, young people who otherwise, also a lot of stories from Latin America and elsewhere of young people who otherwise weren't inspired in school, wanting to continue asking, and doing this in the summer. And it's really that all of you educators who are creating these spaces and encouragement for young people to feel like this is really for me. And as Sean Higgins said, disrupting inequities was like proving to them that it is meaningful. Like, how does it connect to their lives, to the meeting up to their interests and things that they can relate to?
Yeah, that's wonderful to hear, because something that really stuck with me from today was learning more about how different communities are supporting educators and feeling the same way, right? So how do we bring educators into experiences where they're getting to learn and feel welcome and safe to explore and take risks with creating with code? In Brazil, for example, Carolina, I know you've been very much involved in this work with the campaign around Waves of Kindness. I think you're wearing a Waves of Kindness button right now, right, Carolina? Yeah, and so it was really great to hear how
proudly.
Yeah, just like the fact that there's this campaign to think about how to create waves of kindness, that our colleagues in Brazil designed this campaign to invite others in. They said, okay, we want to do this event. Let's create resources for teachers. Let's bring teachers in to have a professional development where they can make it their own projects. And then they empowered educators to then run their own campaigns in their schools. And so that just kind of that thinking of how you build a movement with these little moments of connection. I was really inspired by that. And similarly, my friend Linford in South Africa, during the Scratching Across Africa session that happened, you might remember, those of you who were here last year, Linford shared some of the work at the opening session. And at that time, they were just working with pre-service teachers. And now it's just amazing. Like within a year, it's not only pre-service teachers that they're bringing into spaces that are welcoming and supportive around creating with code and Scratch, but then they have in-service teachers. And then these in-service teachers are running clubs, creative coding clubs for kids. And, Linford, his advice was, just get started, think about making a culturally relevant environment for your community, and really center it on a family-like welcoming environment. So I think that's another theme we're hearing today around spaces where people feel safe, welcomed, cared for, how that's such an important ingredient in this work. Any other things that are sticking with you?
That makes me think of, I think it was exciting that Rick Roseroki and Celeste from U Boulder were launched today at the conference, this Facilitating Family Creative Learning, the new FCL guide that's free, and they encourage not only using it, but it's Creative Commons, remixing it for your own community. And there's facilitator stories, and people in the session were sharing ways that they have had encountered similar things, like how do you support facilitators, but also getting to know the families in a space and having lunch, understanding each other's interests. also in the session with Vero, Marissa Conde, and that Lula helped organize with Scratching Across Latin America, just seeing again this facilitators creating community across countries and the ways that they're doing that through different groups online and just sharing and supporting each other and sharing that spirit. So it's been really exciting to see all of those different ways. Also, I just wanted to add that in terms of like youth voices and supporting students, the innovative ways they're doing that. Carla Neely talked about in Disrupting Inequalities, how she really helps support students as advocates for themselves of like helping them be the ones who talk about why they need more opportunities and really supporting them as advocates and how engaged they become then and seeing themselves as creators. So ways that people are really helping, all of you are helping students see themselves differently, what you can do, once they have one experience, Leon said that just one experience of success, they start to see themselves differently and what's possible. And the more that they're collaborating with each other, the more they think this is really for me and my friends and my community.
That's a beautiful kind of comment to lean on, because I went to a session today. It was a Making Faces session where some educators from the New York City Department of Education were also talking about ways that kids to invite kids into these spaces with Scratch. And the way they did it was to actually start with physical materials and using physical materials to be a way for young people to explore emotions. So particularly thinking about this time of pandemic learning, social emotional challenges that many of us have faced, particularly young people, and inviting them to share objects that are around them that are personally meaningful, but then show them how they can be animated in Scratch and Scratch Junior. So they talked about these feeling faces and being able to like have kids create these faces to express emotion, but also talk about themselves and then think about how they can extend that in Scratch. Just really like beautiful, again, these little moments that have these huge impacts of creating a movement around creative learning. Very inspiring to see.
Yeah.
Also, oh, sorry, go ahead, Francisco.
That was awesome. Shout out to Lionel and Leslie who.
Yeah.
I think one of the questions was like, how have you used computer science to express how you're feeling? Yeah, I was like, wow, like this is a big question. And they just took it step by step. And I've seen that workshop, but they just took it to another level of empathy and vocabulary to express what you're feeling.
Yes.
I love. Thanks to the group for just facilitating such a wonderful session. Natalie, you gonna say something about?
I was just gonna say that like that example of Lionel and Leslie, just and all of the presenters I saw today, it was really powerful for me to see how this community of Scratch has grown, and also just people sharing with each other. Many of the presenters today I know are also deeply involved in the Scratch Educator Collaborative, and that as this like beautiful, again, community that is growing to support educators, families, kids, and having experiences where they can create with Scratch in the ways we've been talking about. So that was really powerful for me today. Like many of the presenters were known to me or new to me, and I learned a lot from kind of what they shared.
Should I bring some comments from the
Yeah,
chat?
I was curious.
Yeah, shout out to our translators.
Waiting for it, right?
Shout out to our translators for getting shout outs in the chat.
Definitely.
There's so many things. We won't be able to read everything, but some of the things that people are sharing that they are celebrating, like Pauline is saying that she's just saying, I love the idea of coding for a purpose and the possibility of including families to share their stories via creative coding, which is something that RuPaul has been talking about, and also family creative learning. People thanking a lot, like, thank you for being able to participate in an international learning community, sharing interesting experiences from all over the world in a wealth of Scratch resources for educators. I'm sorry, it's just like so many people are commenting and I can't bring the names from it, but Luis said that. Also, many people sharing pictures of themselves in Scratch while they were in workshops, they were creating things, and also sharing this creations in the chat. Vero sending links, so please put that on in our studios for the conference, and we're gonna be able to explore it and comment on this. Great day, with a lot of friends, says Vero from Mexico. Let me see what else. Great to hear from the aspiring educators of South Africa, of Scratching Across Africa session.
Yeah, and thank you again to Lula for that idea of just bringing folks together across regions. You know, it's simple, but I think it's so powerful. I think someone said it was so nice to use my own language when connecting, and it was
and I was talking about language before, and Celine is saying, I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing your name right, but she said, I learned a new word today that sums it up. It's translingua, switching between French, my colleagues, and Spanish and English for a long 7 hours in a row. So this was a great opportunity for us to learn new things as a global community as well, right?
Thanks for sharing your comments in the chat. It's Carolina's barely trying to keep up. It's going so fast. Keep them coming.
Yeah, if anyone wants to learn and didn't get to hear the session on building on the strengths of diverse learners of Scratch, Sarah Vogel,
thanks, Nana.
Roger, sharing that. It's a great one to hear about examples across languages and mixing languages together as a strength rather than seeing as a deficit. Students' languages, seeing them as a real strength, and that was really inspiring.
People saying they are excited for the Scratch conference next year.
Yay.
It was the best conference ever, and yes, we're also super happy with it. Inspired by for the coming school year. Also, big shout out to all translators, right? We're gonna thank a lot of people soon, and
our translators and our interpreters. Thank you so much for your work today. It's incredibly meaningful. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for all this sharing.
Yay,
Natalie, would you like to say something else before we invite more people to share?
I just want to say thank you again to everyone who shared and everyone who continues to, on a daily basis, work to bring creative and kind learning experiences to youth. Thank you so much for the work you do. It's so important. And thank you for sharing it with us.
Yeah, same. Just a thanks to everyone who brought their whole selves today and in the work that you do with young people and how you encourage them to really express themselves. It's so inspiring for me and all of us.
Yeah, thank you both so much.
Yeah, I think something else that I just want to share that I think it came to mind and stood out with me is that attending the Scratch Educator meetups, something that I believe Chris said is just like, it's okay not to know it all. You know, and that once you become comfortable, it's freeing. I think Bradley about that, and that just really just stuck with me. You know, I think just inviting folks to be part of that Scratch Educator meetups, and I think it was also said like you feel like you're part of something bigger, and that support makes it more willing to try something out in the classroom. And I think just that support, if let us know how we can support you. I want to encourage you being part of a community. You are part of a community, and so thank you for being here and spending the time with us and wherever you are.
Don't say bye. I see people thinking a lot in the chat. Don't go. We still have some things to do before we all go and celebrate this day.
Okay.
Should we invite more people?
So thanks so much, Natalie and Ripple, for sharing insights and reflections today.
Thank you, friends.
There are 2 more people we'd love to invite to be here, and we welcome you, and would like to learn what you're celebrating today. Invite Mitch Resnick from Lifelong Kindergarten Group at MIT, and Shauna Young, Executive Director at the Scratch Foundation. Please join us for some more remarks.
Great. Well, it's great to be with everybody. It's great to have Shauna here in my office to be able to reflect a little bit about the day. We were just both saying how energized we were through all the activities of today, and how much it gives us new energy to continue to work on spreading and supporting these ideas around the world. I think as Natalie and Rupal had mentioned, it was really striking how so many people, the Scratch team and all the session organizers, were creating welcoming, caring environments. And you could really feel it the same way we've tried to create that in the Scratch Online community. I think the conference today also had that feel of bringing people together, and really appreciate the way that all of the panelists and presenters and session organizers did that. But actually, the thing I want to celebrate is not necessarily the organizers, but one thing that caught my attention, that I paid a lot of attention to during the day, was the chat. Because as I looked at the chat, first of all, you just get a sense of the global nature of the community. Every session I was in, it felt like there were dozens of countries represented. And also, it was people not just reacting to what they were hearing, but then giving their own ideas. The chat was just full of new ideas and new types of experiences. So there was so much that was going on in the chat to learn from. In fact, in one of the sessions, I think it was the creative coding with a cause session, I saw in the chat, I wrote it down. Someone wrote, will the chat be available after the sessions? There's so many fantastic ideas, I can't read them fast enough. I thought that captured what I was thinking. And actually, I then asked them, they said that they will be available, and the video recordings will also show the live chat so people can go back and look at them. But in some ways, that really captured the essence of the community for me, the fact that everybody is contributing. That Scratch has never been something where a small number of people are just distributing something to the world, but it's this network where everybody is contributing and learning from one another. I think, as Rupal and others were saying earlier, that's the way movements are built. It's at all these different levels. Everybody's contributing in different ways, in their own ways. And I really got a feeling for that today, of how people coming together and everybody sharing ideas with one another. So it's just wonderful to see that. I know, what are your thoughts, Shauna?
Yeah, Mitch, I loved just the energy, the different voices. I love the sessions that we had this year, which is a little different, where the Scratch team was able to interact with members or people in the conference. I also love the Scratch around the world. So being able to pop into discussions in Africa, in Asia, in South America. And although I didn't understand all the languages, I love just like sort of being there and feeling the energy. I appreciated one of the pieces, like you said in the chat, I saw that they felt like this conference was one of their most inclusive events they've ever been to. So I really appreciated the openness, the energy, the sharing across the board. I know we're going to do lots of thank yous, but I also wanted to add a few thank yous too. Thank you so much, Francisco and Carolina, for just leading us today and having so much energy and fun stories to share with us. I also appreciated the reflection from Rupal and Natalie. I had so many things I was going to say about sessions that I enjoyed, and it was already shared through the reflection time. So I appreciate that. And also, you'll see that we had over 100 speakers, which is remarkable. And our creative learning team at Scratch Foundation has done a lot of work, but our whole team at the Scratch Foundation has done a lot of work. And you see a lot of them in the chat now. The partnership between the Scratch Foundation and LLK is just amazing. Every time I would go into a session, I'd either see a friend from the Scratch Foundation or a friend from LLK. And I don't know if they could see, like my cheeks were like all the way up because I was just so excited to be there, and then see friends from BCLN and so many friends from the Scratch Education Collaborative, or just people we know overall. So my heart is warm, very warm, tons of energy, and just excited to think about how we can continue to take this to the next level next year. So
yeah, just ending for us. Yeah, I think both of us just feel the biggest thanks just go to all of you out there, because we know that's what really makes Scratch so special. That all of you who are in each in your own way make sense of how to put these ideas into practice in your communities and in your context. And we all learn so much from one another by sharing that. So there's just such great appreciation of just how everybody, all of you around the world, are all finding ways to bring these ideas into practice and to support young people around the world.
Thank you so much, Shauna and Mitch, for sticking around till the end, for joining us at this part and really spreading those waves of kindness in our community. Thank you.
Absolutely. And we have our buttons. I don't know if you can see, but we've got our spreading the waves of kindness button too. And tons of scratch colors, orange and purple. It's just so amazing. Scratch hats everywhere. It was fun.
Yeah, I know we're trying to put those buttons in our store. So and thanks for all the, heard a lot of requests for some scratch swag. And so we're definitely thinking about how to do this. So it's not just me and Carolina with our button maker or our social machine. We'll think about how to do that. So thanks for that advice. We're very happy with today's speakers, the conference, a lot of logistics. And so thank you for that. How are you feeling? How are you doing?
Oh my gosh, I'm just so happy. I can't stop smiling. And people in the chat are so happy too. Some people are remembering the last in-person Scratch conference when we ended with the kazoo. So everybody's, oh, please send a hug to Carmelo because we're singing, all you need is love. We don't have a kazoo, but we have this fake microphone. So maybe by the end of it, we can sing a bit and even dance. But yes, I'm so happy. And the good news is that we can continue exploring this conference by visiting the resources section at Swapcard, as well as using the chat tool to connect to people that we've met today and people that we didn't have the opportunity to meet. But yes, it's part of the Scratch community. And there's a space that we can use to connect, to share, to learn more from everyone, to share what we have been doing, resources and all. So
very true.
Yeah,
the fun keeps going, the exchanges keep going. And so before we go, we'd like to acknowledge and give a huge thanks to each and everyone who is dedicating their time, creativity, and efforts to make this conference happen. And so I just want to give a special shout out to make sure you point to the Scratch Foundation booth. And there are other SEC booths in Swapcard. We want you to check them out. Check organizations who have been supporting the work or presented today, who are part of the Scratch Education Collaborative. And so give a shout out to that. Also want to give another shout out to EPAM, EPAM Kids Program, for just recognizing the value of the conference and support. A huge shout out to you. Thank you. Look forward to continue working with you. Shout out to Sharon Frank and the Wakeman Agency. This is an individual in the background, but who you haven't seen, who's done amazing work. And just thank you for carrying us and getting us through the end and then throughout. Also, of course, want to give a shout out to the Scratch team and for joining the sessions and sticking around, facilitating with the chat, engaging, being there, answering tough questions, and really kind of having fun. Shout out to more than 20 organizations, definitely more than that, who stepped to our call to share your stories and serve as speakers for today. Shout out to all the panelists and fishbowl participants who picked up the mic and then dropped the mic with some of those conversations and some of those reflections and takeaways. Huge thank you. Special shout out to my sister who facilitates a creative learning activity every Friday called Juegos Creativos in her bilingual classroom every week. And with Scratch Junior, she just inspires me all the time.
nice.
She's right in the middle of the class.
Share your stories and service speakers for today. Shout out to all the panelists and fishbowl participants.
Shout out to Lionel for leaving his mic on. But thank you for that. I also want to say that we are thrilled to share with you that we have partnered with Infosys Foundation to develop an online course on their signature digital learning platform, the Pathfinders Online Institute. We had a chance to check it out. Didn't see, we had an opportunity. There's no creative learning course on there, no opportunity to discuss creative learning. So we're going to jump on that. And then Pathfinders Online Institute is a free platform for over 60 curated courses in professional development and instructional computer science and maker activities. And so we look forward to launching our course there in the fall. Also, a lot of questions about this. Next week, you'll receive through Swapcard the recordings for all the sessions from today's conference. You either hopped around, used your 2 feet, or you stuck around with one session. Now you can go back, have a viewing party with friends and family, colleagues, and access the recordings of all the sessions from today's conference. We'll make them available through this Scratch for Educators YouTube channel as well in the future. So if you want to receive more resources, news, and information from Scratch, please subscribe to our newsletter through our foundation website.
Whoa,
that's a lot. That's a lot. Miss anything?
And now to say goodbye, to sing or to, give a shout out and especially to say goodbye and thanks. We will invite all the presenters for the conference this year and the Scratch team as well, the organizers, everyone who have been dedicating these last days for this conference to join us here in a gallery view. So everyone can say bye in their own languages, and yes, just freestyle goodbye for the Scratch Conference 2022.
Thank you for the production team for bringing us all in here. So come on, so you can see just some of the folks, but thank you everyone for joining us.
Everyone is welcome to turn on the microphone, the camera, Yay!
Scratch on.
Scratch on. So
All
you
we
said
need is scratch. All we need is scratch. Yay! Scratch on.
There's a good
all you need is scratch.
All we need is
Oh, Heather's jumping out.
So thank you everyone.
Scratch on.
Scratch
Scratch
on.
scratch
Scratch on,
on.
For
everybody.
coming. I see more
Awesome.
people.
Bye.
Hi, how are you?
Yes.
Thank you for coming. All right.